Good morning. Hey, Joshua. Um, it's not YouTube's fault. I'm going to be honest with you. Uh, I have been alert for about 45 minutes as of right now. And yeah, well, like I said, today wasn't YouTube's fault because I actually got this stream set up with about 2 minutes to spare this morning. I was almost just had to go straight live without doing any kind of setup today. It was very close this morning. Um, let's just say the past 24 hours has not been since the end of yesterday's stream or Tuesday stream, rather, that 8 hours. Damn, I still can't get over that we did 8 hours. But yeah, the past 24 hours has not been that great. Okay, so let's take a look at what has been going on. Now, I'm going to start the stream off when I misrepresent something. Well, I appreciate that you enjoyed the stream there, Josh. I really do. When I misrepresent something, I want to correct myself because I put something out that, while true, wasn't true. All right. And let's start. Okay. And I'm talking about this fanfare to Joe Biden. All right. And this is actually a old story from 2022. But for some reason, I had just heard about it the other day. And this story is so old that while it is true, the song was retired. So evidently, Jill Biden, one of the first things she did was ask for the Marine Corps band to come up with a fanfare for the First Lady. And then well, it was just so nasty that, well, nobody liked it. And right here's the update. February 13th, 2022, the United States Marine Corps has retired fanfare for the First Lady, of course, according to a source familiar with the decision. The band quietly shelved the song following the publication of the article. All right, and the original article was January 5th, 2022, by T. Beckett Adams. But I told you all I would find the song and I would play it for you. So here it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, the First Lady of the United States, Jill Biden, accompanied by the Secretary of Education, Miguel Cardona, and the 2020 and 2021 National Teachers of the Year, Tabitha Rosproy and Juliana Urtubey. Ladies
and there is that monstrosity of a song that was produced for Jill Biden to be known as Fanfare for the First Lady. So, yeah, it no longer is being, it has not been played evidently for 2 years. Yeah, it did sound like a practice session, Josh. You're exactly right about that. But I brought it up the other day. I said I would find it and play it for you. And there is the whole story behind it. Jill Biden requested it. They came up with it. And because of the news story or the article written by the Adams character, they retired it. And they should have retired it just because it was such a horrible, horrible song. I would not want to be. I would not want to be have any part of that song ever brought to me. Okay. Oops. Why is okay? Now the past 24 hours, a lot of stuff has happened. Really, a lot of stuff. Christopher Wray testified before the House Judiciary Committee. And once again, I'm going back to I'm not going to do the whole thing like I did the Cheadle testimony. Because basically I don't want another 8-hour stream today. All right. So I'm just going to play some selected portions of it. And then we'll talk about it. Did it? Yeah, your parents, it confused your parents there, Josh? Oh my goodness. You mean old man subjecting them to that sound. I'm sure they'd love you for that. Okay, so during that 8-hour stream, I didn't have any problems holding it because I really reduced my liquid intake during that. I didn't drink anything until the last hour of it. So that wasn't a problem. Okay. So let's start off here.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Director, for being here. It's refreshing. I was in the oversight hearing earlier this week, and although we don't have an idea on everything, your ability to come in here and actually give way more than Director Cheadle ever did is somewhat refreshing. You saw some pretty bipartisan frustrations exhibited in that particular hearing. I'm sure you've seen part of it. I want to follow up on a couple of lines of questions that I had with Director Cheadle that she actually answered, which was remarkable. One, she had indicated that Secret Service at the Trump rally did not have any radio recordings. Is that, in your investigation, is that accurate?
I'm not sure I know the answer to that. I believe there may be some recordings on the local law enforcement side. As to whether or not we have recordings on the Secret Service side, I'd have to drill back into that. And the reason you might say, well, how the heck can you not know? Well, we certainly have interviewed lots of Secret Service employees. So what we know from the interviews versus some other source, as I sit here right now, I don't know.
So on this particular case, but in your experience, and again, it's a different agency, but she had indicated, Director.
Okay, that frustrates me a little bit. Ryan answered the question, but I don't believe him. I don't believe that he does not know whether or not, as he sits there, whether or not there are recordings. Hey, Tyler, good morning, buddy. Oh, that's pretty cool there, Josh. But maybe I've gotten so cynical listening to Ray and the rest of these talking heads, head of departments, when they testified, that I've learned that most of them they're sitting there lying with a straight face. I don't think that I just have a problem believing whether or not he, as he sits there, knows the answer to that question. But Mr. Fry here is just accepting it and letting it and going along with it.
Cheadle had indicated that recordings sometimes are done from radio recordings, I guess, of what happens at a Trump rally or any other thing that they're engaged in. Is that your experience as well, that sometimes there are audio recordings of communications between law enforcement officials?
Just speaking very broadly. There are times when there are recordings, but it'd be hard for me to be more precise than that.
And I know that you can't answer whether they were here in this instance or not, but what would cause recordings to not exist for the Trump rally, if, as a hypothetical, what would be the reason that would happen?
I'm afraid I don't know the answer to that. I mean, if they didn't record, there may be situations where they just don't record in the first place, and why that would be, though, I'm not sure I can answer that.
What a BS question with a BS answer. That was such a softball question.
Thank you. Let me ask you this, and this is another line of questioning. Director Cheadle had indicated that seconds before the would-be assassin fired the shot, is roughly seconds, is when he became a person of suspicion to an actual threat. Would you agree with that assessment from Director Cheadle?
Well, let me try it this way. I think there are sort of three, in my mind, there's sort of three, let's say three significant moments on this continuum that you're kind of getting at. There is roughly an hour before the shooting when local law enforcement observes the individual, the shooter. At that point, as somebody that was a person of concern. I forgot the exact phrasing, and that was based on seeing him with this rangefinder, no observation of a weapon, but there was something odd and off about them that caught local law enforcement's attention. So that's the first moment. Then there's a second moment, which is, I think just minutes before the shooting, where local law enforcement observed him on the roof, but didn't see a weapon, is my understanding at that point. And at that point, their level of concern obviously was even higher. And then there's the third moment, which is that moment when local law enforcement saw him, the officer who climbed up with the assistance of his colleague and saw the shooter in the prone position with the weapon, and that's seconds before the event. And so, terminology, I'm not sure, but it seems to me there's an evolution of concern over that time period.
Correct, and escalating concern. At what point, and this again, I just don't know, so I'm curious, at what point is, say, the sniper who killed Mr. Crooks, at what point is he able to fire a shot, and does he have to have authorization in which to do that?
I don't know that I know Secret Service's rules of engagement in that situation. It's possible that our interview of the counter sniper has uncovered that. Again, our focus has been, I certainly understand why you're asking the question, but our focus has been on the shooter.
I tell you, why isn't the answer the moment he saw him with a gun, the sniper could take the shot? No permission requested, no permission offered, no communication, just the sniper saying, something, the FBI snipers saying something along the lines of, enemy detected with firearm, with gun, taking them out now and shooting them. I mean, that point, the moment he saw him and saw that he had a gun, the sniper should be able to take the shot. Not asking for permission or anything else, making a declaratory statement. Thank you, Tyre. That's the phrasing I was trying to think of. Enemy detecting, neutralizing now. Josh, you're right about that. And by the way, good morning, Neil. There's been a lot of times I've been told, and I have said, I don't want to hear it. Don't tell me anything. I do not want to know what you did or how you did it or how you got this. I don't want to know. Don't tell me. I want to remain ignorant of this. So, there is that. That way, if I ever got questioned about it, I'd say, I don't know. I honestly do not know what happened, what he did, how he got it, or anything else. And then there's been times I've had my superiors tell me the exact same thing.
Himself and his actions and the attack. These two other reviews, the DHS Inspector General and the outside independent panel, are both looking at the performance of the Secret Service which would, I'm confident, include the question that you're talking about.
Thank you. And I actually think, from a legislative purpose and what this body will probably ultimately do, it's of great importance that we.
All right, that's neither here nor there what you think. All right. I don't want to get into that yet. And do I want to get here? No, those are questions I don't want to get to yet. So I'm, like I said, Neil, just to let you know, I had I was very late in getting set up for today's stream.
Knock, knock. Hi there. I'd love to show you what a K-12 powered school is really like.
Gentleman yields back.
So I was very late in getting set up for today's stream, so I'm going to be doing a lot of jumping around here on as far as the videos go and such. Okay. But here's Matt Gaetz doing some questioning. And like I said before, I'll say again, like MTG, like Boebert, and several others, like Trump himself. As individuals, I may not like these people as a person. And there are going to be times I'm going to strongly disagree with what they do. And when I disagree with their actions, I will be just as vocal in saying that as I am about when I support their actions. But I think that's a problem we have in politics today and on people who comment on politics, is too many people. He's my guy, she's my gal, and they can do nothing wrong. And I was just reading chat there for a second. What are you riding there, Neil? You riding a horse, a buggy, a four-wheeler, a motorcycle? Because there's a few things I could think of I'd be riding that I wouldn't be concerned about what somebody was saying on the internet. Oh, okay. You're all right. You're doing deliveries. All right. Understand. All right. So let's listen to Matt Gaetz here.
Gentleman from Florida is recognized.
Was the shooter on the FBI's radar in any way prior to the assassination attempt?
We did not have any information about the shooter. He was not in our holdings before the shooting.
No communication in any chat rooms, no CIs or confidential human sources have any interaction with?
No, we've run a thorough search for the subject through all of our holdings, and he was not in them anywhere.
Were there any FBI agents or informants present at the Trump rally in Butler?
Not to my knowledge.
And Mr. Jordan was talking to you about Iran.
Okay, I can understand why Gaetz asked that question. And it's really sad to say that as politicized as this government has made its agencies, especially the Department of Justice, and that the umbrella Department of Justice and everybody and everything that ensconces, including Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, Secret Service, the CIA, all those organizations fall under that. That would be a very good question to be asked. Holy crap. Okay. Did not see that. Okay, we'll have to take a look at that here in a few minutes. So, but I can understand because we know the FBI has implanted people into Trump rallies and such. We know they've all but admitted it during January 6th. A lot of the instigators were FBI plans. We know, the tiki carriers. I can't remember what the hell that name of that supposedly radical right-wing group is, that all wear khakis and matching polo shirts and hoods. We know those are FBI or FBI informants or FBI human resources. So, again, that may sound like like a very partisan question, but I can understand why he asked it.
Were law enforcement resources diverted from the protection of President Trump to John Bolton as a consequence of concern that Mr. Bolton might have been the target of Iranian malign efforts?
That's really a Secret Service decision. I don't know the answer to that. That's really something they would know better. What I can tell you is that there are a number of individuals. You mentioned one who we've brought a case, a specific criminal case for the Iranians targeting for assassination. But how the
are you going to get that answer to us? Whether or not resources were diverted from Trump to Bolton? Is that just going to be part of your review?
I think that's going to be part of the reviews by the inspector general.
The inspector general for DHS, right?
Of DHS, right. and the outside panel.
And I think that's an important point because the inspector general for DHS has really fallen out of favor with the administration because he's been pointing out all the problems on the border with Mayorkas and Biden. And we're always kind of worried that they're about to fire him, which would be a really bad idea now that this role that you've identified is so critical. Be a bad idea to fire the IG for DHS during the pendency of this, right, Mr. Director?
I don't think that would be a good idea.
I'm with you on that. So I want to zoom out a little bit. How often do you brief President Biden?
You mean on this specific case?
No, in your role as FBI director.
I mean, I don't know that I could give you a number.
Is it like weekly, monthly, daily?
It's not at a regular cadence. There have been times when there have been months at a time when I haven't, and then there have been times when several days apart I have. Okay. It's always with other people.
The vice president, is she typically there?
Often has been.
Okay, so when did you notice his decline?
In my interactions, in my role, all my interactions with the current president have been completely professional.
Right, but I mean the cognitive decline. I'm not saying he treated you unprofessionally, just maybe not picking things up as quickly as he used to.
Again, I don't meet with him very often, but what you're describing is not something that I've observed during my interactions with him.
Liar.
We've had it observed so often that the ranking member and Mr. Schiff on this committee have said that he could no longer continue as a candidate. And so since you're the FBI director, I was just sort of wondering, like, who's running the country? Like if something bad happened, you'd have to go brief President Biden about it right now. God forbid.
And on any number of occasions, I have briefed the president. And as I said, those briefings have all been uneventful and unremarkable.
Well, I can imagine them being uneventful. But in the work where the vice president's also present, like you say, there's like more than half the time there's these briefings, she's there too?
I don't know if I'd said more than half the time. Certainly, there have been times where she's been present. There have been other times where she hasn't.
I take you at your word when you say this is the most complicated threat environment you've ever observed over a long career in law enforcement. And I'm just kind of wondering, with this assassination attempt, with the invasion at our border, with all the Hamas that have been let in that you've talked about and briefed about, like, is Biden up to it? And if he's not up to it, and you're a guy who's been regularly briefing him, like who's been in on this conspiracy to hide the real Joe Biden from all of us for years? It never occurred to you that this guy wasn't up to it in all these briefings you did?
As I said, my briefings with the president have all been completely fine.
Were they
I
between
briefed,
10 a.m. and
he's
4
asked
p.m.?
questions. There hasn't been anything of note in the area that you're talking about.
Yeah, did you ever have to brief him before 10 a.m. or after 4 p.m.? We hear those are as good hours.
I certainly times that I have briefed have included outside those hours.
Right. Okay. I just, I think the American people want to know how we got to this point with someone who's so diminished his own party has basically put him out to pasture. And since you had close proximity and the vice president had close proximity, I'm just kind of wondering if you were being straight with all of us about how things were going with him. I guess we'll have to figure that out.
You can count on me to be straight with you, sir.
We'll
No,
see.
we can't. No, we can't. That lie
So
detected.
today's the day. I've got my RTA mock system and Coyote appliances.
Lies detected. Multiple lies detected there. Switch over to this video here.
Welcome back. FBI Director Christopher Wray revealing new details on the assassination attempt on former President Trump during his testimony.
Okay. Come on. And all right, here we go. Comer is being a bit of a
First of all, that it even happened, that a shooter was allowed on the roof, that people saw the shooter climbing on the roof, that people were alerting local authorities that a person with a gun was crawling on the roof, and yet nothing was done about it. And the shooter was allowed 8 shots before he was terminated. But secondly was the fact that when I subpoenaed Director Cheadle, she had an opportunity to prepare for that hearing for 6 days. It was 9 days after the shooting, and yet she did nothing to instill confidence into anyone in America that
Of the dead gunmen were sent to ATF.
And I say that, Maria, because we've spoken with
And that was according to the briefing provided by the local SWAT and sniper team, Mr. Chairman, because President Biden did not mention his health at all while addressing the decision to drop out of the race
I'm trying to find where Comer actually calls for Christopher Wray's resignation.
To drop out of the 2024 race. FBI Director see Biden is cognitively and physically challenged. He can't run.
Here we go.
Trump also called
President, and as I said, those briefings have all been uneventful and unremarkable.
So what are your thoughts? The comments from Wray prompted former President Trump to call for his resignation for lying to Congress. Trump wrote this on Truth Social. If Wray cannot see Biden as cognitively and physically challenged, he can't run the FBI. Trump also called out Wray during his rally in Charlotte, North Carolina last night. Here's what he said.
The head of the FBI was, you know that, right? He was in front of Congress today, and one of the great congressmen asked him a question. Have you ever noticed in all your meetings with Biden that he's cognitively a degenerate? And he said, no, I never noticed that. Anybody that says that, you know they're not telling the truth. I didn't notice he couldn't stand up. I didn't notice he can't walk. And I didn't notice he can't think and he couldn't talk. Other than that, he's doing quite well.
Congressman, what do you think? Should Ray resign?
I've always said Ray should resign long before he answered that question in Judiciary Committee yesterday. Look, if Christopher Wray is head of the FBI and he was telling the truth that he...
Okay, guys, there that is. There are now multiple people calling for Ray to resign over Biden. No, Neil, that was not the court saying he was incompetent to stand trial. That was her. The man who interviewed him over the classified material being in his house stored next to his Corvette in the garage, saying that, recommending that he not be prosecuted because he was an elderly man and would be a sympathetic, being a sympathetic defendant. That's the word I was trying to think of. And that the jury wouldn't convict him because he was old and frail and too sympathetic to want to convict of any crimes. So there was no court that made that decision. All right, let's see here. I want to get to Netanyahu's speech last night. But there's other things I want to get to first, because there were there were some things that he said last night, and unfortunately, like I said, guys, I had very little time to set for today's stream. So a lot of it I'm just not going to be able to have the video because I wasn't able to find a clip of it. And I'm not going to go through a 2-hour speech looking for a clip. I just didn't have time to go through a 2-hour speech this morning looking for a specific clip. Brian, good morning to you. Welcome to this. This is not a well prepared for stream today, Brian. Just being honest about it. This is not a well prepared for stream today.
Director Ray, thank you for being here, and thank you for the information that you've provided today. I greatly appreciate it. This event that occurred, the attempted assassination of President Trump on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania, was a level 5 alarm alert to this country that our elected officials, our leaders, the president, the former president, are not safe, and we need to reevaluate from the ground up exactly how we are to go about providing that protection. The information you provided dealing with 8 cartridges from the roof, the drone, the fact that 2 explosive devices were found in the car, 1 at home. That was a remote detonation device that he had on him. The fact that his phone was using encrypted platforms. He only had 1 phone, correct?
Oh, sorry. He had 1 phone, although we've identified other phones that he may have used that may not have been his phone. So, for example, we think in certain instances he might have used his dad's phone. Again, not necessarily related to the attack, but we're trying to make sure that we process and exploit every device he could have used. And we keep, which is part of why I keep making this point, which I know you all are probably tired of me making about this being an ongoing investigation, because we keep identifying new pieces of equipment, new accounts, what have you.
And the fact that you are in real time informing us about what you're finding as you're performing this investigation is very helpful, and clarifying the fact that he went to the range a day before and shot an AR. Now, my understanding is that the AR he used on the 13th was his father's. Is that correct?
Well, yes and no. It was originally, his father bought it legally, but then our understanding so far is that his father then conveyed it to him, sold it, in fact, to his son. So originally his father's, at the time of the shooting, the shooter's.
That's okay. So that's new information. Was that provided to you by the father?
I think it was partly from that. I think we also saw some documentation to support it.
Okay. Investigators also have said that the shooter posted, quote, July 13th will be my premiere. Watch it as it unfolds on an online gaming platform sometime before he tried to assassinate President Trump. Can you confirm that, and how much time elapsed between this posting and the attempt on July 13th?
So I'm really glad you asked about that, because that is a situation where, again, in our effort to give real-time information, since we've provided that information, we have since learned that July 13th premiere, profile page on the gaming platform, it turns out it was not the shooter.
Okay.
That it was some other individual as part of some sick joke who, after the shooting, created a profile page pretending to be the shooter.
Wow.
And so, of course, that person is now admitted to it. And, but anyway, my point being, among the other challenges that we as investigators have, you have people who create accounts in today's world, create accounts pretending to be somebody that they're, and it's not the actual person.
Now, the
so
shooter,
that's troubling, obviously, and it makes our jobs even harder as investigators.
thank you for clarifying that. Did he have an online gaming account?
We do believe he was a gamer, and that he had different kinds of gaming accounts. So that's part of why
Any information gleaned from those?
Not yet, but again, some of those legal process returns I'm still waiting on.
Now, during the attempted assassination, Crooks was wearing a T-shirt from a popular YouTube channel. Have you been able to access his selection of YouTube videos that he's watched?
I believe we have seen some of his, search history.
Well, the company, the YouTube channel the shirt he was wearing, they are really concerned. They come out right away trying to distance themselves from him. Now, I may have watched that channel a few times, but I don't believe I'm subbed to it. And it's not a channel that I watch on a regular basis. But I watch, listen to, or otherwise visit on a regular basis. So, but yeah, I should have been curious about how their subscriber count has done over the past 11 days.
But I think we've got a ways to go on that. I know there's some manual work that we're doing on that. I think the most notable thing that we've found recently, which I don't think has been shared until today, is that on a laptop that the investigation ties to him, that on July 6th, it revealed a Google search. And his search, if it was him, again, it's a laptop tied to him. We obviously believe it's him, but we'll continue to investigate. But his Google search was, how far away was Oswald from Kennedy?
Right.
And
horrifying.
Yes, absolutely.
Can you clarify that you have in your possession all of the video that was taken on that day at the scene?
We've collected mountains of video. Part of the reason
you commit to providing us with that video?
Well, we're going to work with the committee and share information as best we can. Part of the reason I hedged on whether we have it all is as
best we can. In other words, we're going to let you have what we want you to have, and we're not going to give you anything we don't want you to have. I hate, I mean, that is strictly the way that's going. Yeah, you're right there, Neil. He doesn't have an online presence, but he's wearing a shirt from them. Hey, morning, Digi. Glad to see you pop in this morning.
You can appreciate in today's world, everybody with a phone has the ability to take footage. And so we're finding things kind of left and right.
You have all the law enforcement video.
Oh, yes, they're about the law enforcement video. Okay.
I believe we have all the law enforcement video, but we're still collecting evidence.
And I hope you would provide that to us and to the American people. Thank you. I yield back.
Gentlemen,
okay, so there's that one.
Are you driving?
All right. Ray talked about some more things yesterday. But let's see here. I want to get into, I don't want to make today's stream all about that. We're going to have months and months and months before, at least 60 days before any real answers, finalized answers come out. So we're going to have at least 2 months worth of stuff. And it's kind of ironic. We're August, September. So, this may truly end up being an early October surprise when the final reports come out. So, morning, Wiley. How you doing this morning? So, Netanyahu spoke yesterday, and if ever a member of Congress should have been escorted out of, and actually, she needs to be censored by the House. She won't be, but she needs to be. For her actions, it's Tlaib. This woman is absolutely disgusting. During Netanyahu's speech, she's wearing the Palestinian kaffi, I guess. All right. Now, if you'll notice, most of these Congress critters, a lot of them are wearing the yellow ribbon to symbolize the hostages that Hamas is still holding. And this goes, the yellow ribbon, this goes back to a very old, let's see here. Let me find it. Okay, it goes back to an old Tony Orlando and Dawn song from, oh God, I was a kid when this song was written. 1973. So, like I said, I was a kid when this song was written, called "Tie Yellow Ribbon Round." Tie yellow ribbon is tie yellow ribbon round the old oak tree. It's been 3 long years. Do you still know me? And or do you still want me? I'm sorry. And then it goes on. If I don't see a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree, I'll stay on the bus, forget about us, and put the blame on me. So whenever people have been missing for a long time, this yellow ribbon has come into play there. Just a Hey, Donald, welcome, buddy. Yeah, you're right about that, Josh. Nobody wanted to associate with her. But what's even more disgusting is this little sign she's got.
Against the Jewish state come from
Just watch. Right now it says guilty of genocide.
people who wear fancy silk robes and speak in lofty tones about law and justice. Here's a case in point. The prosecutor of the International Criminal Court has shamefully accused Israel of deliberately starving the people of Gaza. This is utter, complete nonsense. It's a complete fabrication. Israel has enabled more than 40,000 aid trucks to enter Gaza. That's 500,000 tons of food. And that's more than 3,000 calories for every man, woman, and child in Gaza. If there are Palestinians in Gaza who aren't getting enough food, it's not because Israel is blocking it, it's because Hamas is stealing it.
Okay, then the other side of the sign said war criminal.
So much for that lie, but here's another. The ICC prosecutor accuses Israel of deliberately targeting civilians. What in God's green...
So she should be wrongly censored by the House. Why she hasn't been, I don't know. Why the media hasn't picked up on her and discussed, we do know. Not Donald, I looked it up in Wikipedia. Okay. And just as why are you going to hate life when you get back home there, Donald? It was a worldwide hit for the group in 1973. So, and yeah, that song was everywhere. reached top 10 in 10 countries, 8 of which have topped the charts. Number 1, US and UK. Number 1, Australian charts. Number 1 in New Zealand. In 2008, Billboard ranked the song as the 37th biggest song of all time. So, yeah, I mean, it's really, I mean, it's a yeah, I mean, it's really a nice song. I really enjoyed it when it came out. Oh, now John Wayne movie, she wore a yellow ribbon. Yeah, now there's that, the John Wayne movie. Yeah, that is 1949 movie. Uh, John Ford directed it. So, the yellow ribbon. They go, I mean, it actually goes. The idea of a yellow ribbon actually goes back, from my understanding, to medieval England and such, where women would wear yellow ribbons to show their devotion to a particular man. So, but yeah, no, the song was not around. Ah, okay. Yeah, computers are definitely the way to go. Yeah, I caught a copyright strike from a stream the other day, a couple days ago, and I have no idea why, because I didn't think I played anything copyrightable, but evidently I did. Maybe I use a CNN or a maybe, I used a CNN or CBS clip that got the ban. Uh, in fact, I think I did use a CBS News clip. I think I did use a CBS News clip because I couldn't find it on Forbes or someplace someplace else. Somebody that never gives me a strike for using their stuff. Well, I tell you, Netanyahu had one particular line in last night's speech that I was looking for, and because I wanted to use it on my header for today, and which was all these people, the people protesting, or the gays protesting, gays for Gaza, are the same as chickens protesting chickens for KFC or something along those lines. Oh, that sucks, Josh. And I was actually looking for that soundbite this morning. I spent what few minutes I had before doing the stream looking for that particular soundbite. Let me. Chickens for KFC. Yahoo. Try one more time to see. If somebody's got a video clip of it. And here it is. Some of these protesters holding up signs proclaiming gays for Gaza. I can't get, there's the exact quote. I still can't find a video of it, but that's okay. Some of these protesters hold up signs proclaiming gays for Gaza. They might as well hold up signs saying chickens for KFCs. These protesters chant from the river to the sea, but they don't have a clue what river and what sea they're talking about. So, yeah, that's okay. You play one over to Gaza, and it would be the opposite. Oh, yeah. I'd love to see these protesters actually go to Gaza and hold up those signs, gays for Gaza. See how long they'd last. Of course, these assholes were out protesting yesterday. This is the Christopher Columbus Monument. Of course, they burned an effigy of Netanyahu. And there are a half a dozen American flags burned. These people, and I've said this before. I said this back during Pride Month. It's amazing how these people and in freedom of speech can destroy public monuments, deface public monuments, burn American flags, and it's all covered under freedom of speech. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? I agree that the offensiveness that I find in burning the American flag like this, it is their freedom of speech to do so. It should not be illegal to burn the American flag. Now, if you steal an American flag, if you tear down somebody else's American flag, if you destroy somebody else's American flag, then that, of course, is illegal. But this part here, this why the police were not sent in to arrest these people as they were doing this. Tear gas the hell out of them and arrest them. I don't know. But back, like I said, though, back during Pride Month, if you drove over and marked up a pride flag that was painted on the asphalt of the road, then you were charged with hate crimes and can do up to 10 years in prison. That is absolutely disgusting. If you go out and buy your own pride flag and you go out and burn it in public during Pride Month, you are charged with a hate crime for inciting violence. But these guys here, yeah, there were a few people arrested. There were a few people done with tear gas. But why these people here during the actual destruction, damage to this monument weren't arrested? I don't know. Hey, morning, Toss. Morning, Ramen. How you doing today? This is just absolutely disgusting that they were allowed to get away with this. And said, they did make a few arrests for some of the more violent assholes that got out there. But there wasn't enough of them. They should have had loads and loads and loads of people being taken into jail. Okay, let's see here. Going back to the Ray testimony yesterday, but off the subject of the attempted assassination. And you know how these Congress critters love to, they go off of the intended subject. But sometimes they're it's a good reason why.
Director, that there were some remarks made when you were introduced, preemptory remarks saying that people don't have great faith in the FBI and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I have great faith in the FBI, and I think most of us on this side of the aisle do. We appreciate your work and you appreciate your being here.
There's the yellow ribbon I was
Some on the other side of the
talking
aisle
about.
cast aspersions upon the FBI and upon law enforcement. And if they don't want to support law enforcement, that's their business. But I support law enforcement, and the FBI is the top rank of law enforcement in our country. So I thank you and all of your people that work with you. Secondly, there's been some questions about the FBI maybe being weaponized. Did President Biden ever ask you to get involved in the case in Orlando, Florida, where Kevin McCarthy says that Mr. Gates is investigated for some sexual involvement with a 17-year-old girl? Did the president or anybody in the Democratic Party, as Mr. McCarthy has suggested, weaponized you and tried to get you involved in that case?
No, sir.
Good. Thank you. Just wanted to make sure of that. Butler, Pennsylvania, I read something about a ladder. He used a ladder to get up on that roof, and that the ladder was found somewhere a distance away. Is that true?
So we do know that he purchased a ladder. I think if I recall correctly, it was about a 5-foot tall type of ladder. But importantly, we did not find the ladder at the scene. So it's not clear that he used the ladder to get on top of the roof.
So you don't think
we're
the
still
ladder-
digging into all that, things related to the ladder and his access to the roof. But he did buy a ladder, but the ladder was not found at the scene.
Ladder didn't have any feet on it. It didn't
Any
walk
feet?
off.
Right.
Thank you, sir. There have been a lot of threats against public officials. We've seen Mr. Scalise terribly shot, and we saw Gabby Gifford shot, and other Congress people, and many of us have had death threats. And the FBI has, I think, been made aware of those to help protect us, and I appreciate that greatly. But we've also had election officials and poll workers threatened. What is the FBI doing in consultation with other law enforcement to ensure every eligible voter can safely and confidently cast a ballot this year?
So when it comes to threats to election workers in particular, we participate in the election threats task force that DOJ set up. We also, and there've been quite a number already of arrests and convictions under that task force. We have got a number of investigations underway that involve all kinds of threats to
I'm
election
sorry, guys.
workers, ranging from
I
online
thought I had
threats
this already marked.
there was even some mailings that included fentanyl. So there's been a number of types of threats to election workers. And these are, after all, people who are putting in their own time for the good of the country to try to help us have a functioning democracy. And so the idea that they would be targeted with violence is just outrageous. We are sharing information with election officials about things to be on the lookout for. We have election crime coordinators in all 50
You'll be prepared for Election Day with additional, FBI will be looking out for.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Jeffrey Epstein.
Here we go.
Been in the news a lot lately about involvement with certain people high in politics involved. Did the FBI conduct the raid on his townhouse in New York when he was?
Now, when they're talking about the high people, they're starting again. The left is starting again claiming that Trump was one of Epstein's clients over on the island, despite the fact that to our knowledge, the few times he did fly on Epstein's plane, it was not the Lolita Express. And the testimony, the one woman did claim and then retracted her claim that Trump had accosted her. And then another woman said, no, Trump was one of the nicest guys she ever met on the planes. So there's that.
Was incarcerated in New York. There was a raid on his East Side townhouse.
Well, I don't know about a raid. I know we executed a number of searches in the course of our fairly extensive investigation related to Mr. Epstein.
Can you tell me during that search if you came across and have within the possession of the FBI tapes of him with other individuals that he might have taken in people in compromising positions?
Yeah, I don't know that there's anything I can share related to that. I can see if there's information we could provide and maybe get back to you on it.
If there were tapes of people in prominent positions, friends of his he'd posed for pictures with, possibly in compromising positions, it would be, the public, I think, has a right to see those.
Well, I mean, how we handle evidence recovered in a criminal investigation has all kinds of rules that apply to it. I recognize the intense public interest in the subject, but we'd have to follow our rules. But I'm happy, like I said, I'm happy to follow up with my team on it.
Thank you, sir. And I appreciate your service and thank you for being here today.
Gentlemen, yield the last 5.
If this gentleman is so interested in getting the Epstein tapes out there, I'll tell you what I would love to see released. And that is which Congress critters has made themselves or have used the Congress's secret stash of money for paying off women and men who have wanted to bring charges against them for sexual acts. Okay, whoa, what's going on here? Oh, how'd the homemade mayo turn out there, Tyre? I like homemade mayo. I do it pretty good. I do it on occasion. Usually, if I want a garlic mayo or garlic mayo, I'll make up my own mayo for that. But then I use a stuff called nasal napalm when I make up my garlic mayo. So, Raman, I'm trying to see, what did you not watch yesterday? I'm trying to catch up on chat here. And looking for a slip up to call a foul on either end or to extend the show. Okay, I am truly, truly lost here. Oh, you're talking about the hearings. Okay, yeah. I could not watch the hearings yesterday at all because of other situations. So, MTG, she is already out there going after Kamala. And she just did this morning on the floor of the House.
Appointed by border czar by President Joe Biden, Kamala Harris has undoubtedly been a complete failure in her job and has destroyed our country by releasing a record-setting levels of criminals, rapists, and terrorists into our communities. Despite the attempts of the fake news media to whitewash her appointment as border czar, as Axios correctly reported, and they're now lying and say they never did, she was in fact labeled a border czar by nearly every major news outlet across the country. Border czar Kamala Harris said, "Do not come," yet proudly welcomed 11.5 million illegals from over 160 countries, including over 2 million known gotaways who completely evaded U.S. authorities. She stood by and allowed these people to come in and idly watched our children and women being raped by illegal alien criminals. She's not just allowing them to come. The policies of the administration allow the CBP One app to import over 400,000 illegals into American communities. Under her watch as border czar, this has happened. She can fake it for the photo ops, but we know that Kamala Harris wholeheartedly supports the chaos at our border, the chaos in our streets, and the chaos in the families who have been victims of her open border policies. Border czar Harris outlandishly compared ICE to KKK and radically called for the ICE to be abolished. She also posted the Minnesota Freedom Fund to bail out violent Black Lives Matter terrorists who burned down cities, looted stores, destroyed communities, and caused over $2 billion in damage to American communities all over America. Kamala Harris is not only the border czar, she is also the czar of chaos. And her policies have destroyed American. I yield back.
Yeah. You're right, Donald. I'm the same way. Gates, MTG, Boebert. That there's something about that group and a lot of the people they associate with that. I mean, they're slightly smarter versions of AOC. And man, let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find this statement. Yes, Black Lives Matter. They released a statement, and it's not often that I have agreed with Black Lives Matter. And I'm trying to find that. Where is their exact statement at here? See if this news article gives a link to their I'm trying to find their exact statement here. And it would figure that nobody would actually quote their statement in one strep in one area. They use the Black Lives, they use it to get you in there, but then they don't. They just parse it out rather than giving the whole statement. And the damn Google search. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe this is it here. All right, here we go. Let me share this. Like I said, it's not often I agree with Black Lives Matter since they were created, especially since their creation by a group of Marxists. All right. Okay, let me go ahead and post this link because I am not going to read the whole thing. And I always got somebody that wants to know the link. So there you go. While Joe Biden wasn't our preferred candidate, we cannot ignore the troubling actions of the Democratic Party. The DNC refused to host debates during the primary, even though a vast majority of Democratic voters wanted them. This would have likely allowed America to see the decline of Joe Biden in 2023. The DNC changed the primary schedule and created rules that made it almost impossible for non-Biden candidates to appear on the ballot, effectively clearing the field of any challengers for the incumbent president. Following the primary, where millions of black voters weighed in after one poor debate performance, the DNC party elites and billionaire donors bullied Joe Biden out of the race. Now the Democratic Party's elites and billionaire donors are attempting to manipulate black voters by anointing Kamala Harris and an unknown as vice president as the new Democratic ticket without a primary vote by the public. This blatant disregard for democratic principles is unacceptable. While the potential outcome of a Harris presidency may be historic, the process to achieve it must align with true democratic values. Coming from a group of Marxists, I find that a bit hypocritical for them to be calling for democratic values, but they are right. We have no idea where Kamala Harris stands on these issues now that she has assumed Joe Biden's place, and we have no idea the record of her potential vice president, because we don't even know who it is yet. There is nothing there that I can disagree with. There is absolutely nothing in that portion of this statement I can disagree with. Now, of course, we all know that, we're a constitutional representative republic. But the Democrats have been out there talking about the democratic process. We are a democracy. And yet they are using the most undemocratic process possible to get Kamala in as the candidate, their candidate, and knowing, and it's already happening, black women are out there demanding that a 100%, you aren't black if you don't vote for Kamala. How you must hate black women if you don't vote for Kamala. It's already out there. Again, hashtag not all, because as somebody who consumes a lot of short form political user content, exactly, Tyre. For a change, I don't agree with the messenger, but for a change, I do agree with the message. Well, Kamala was raised Indian. Her Jamaican father was out of the picture when she was very young. And so she was raised within the Indian faith, within one of the Indian faiths. And as you said, she is Jamaican, but I work with Jamaicans and they're black. Their skin tone has a lot of melanin in it. But they are Jamaicans. So just, well, I'm just as it is, you know. I mean, and I'm going to be honest. I'm so sick. I've been so over. You're black. You've got to think this. You're white. You got to think that. You're this. You got to think your skin color is this. So you got to think that. I've been over that for years. I don't like these divisions, and I'm not going to say never have, because there may have been a point in my life where I said something to the contrary. I would much rather, you are an American, you are Jamaican, you are, you are Irish, you are German, you are Russian, you are from, whatever country you are from. I mean, don't call a Korean Japanese, or don't call Japanese Chinese. Don't screw up a Thai. Don't mix around with, ramen. What would happen if somebody would call a Pakistani Indian, or vice versa? What kind of hell would be raised? Oh, Tyra, yeah, exactly. Tyra, I think of you, I honestly, I didn't know what your skin color was, and I didn't care when I first met you. Excuse me. That is the wonderful thing about the internet. When people don't do face reveals, because then you get to know them first by what they say, how they act. You get a truer sense of the individual, not being first distorted by their physical appearance, by what they say, and the positions they endorse. So when I say I don't like somebody on the internet, it's not because of what they look like. It's not because of the color of their skin, the type of hair they have, if they have any hair, facial features, beards, mustaches, whether or not they shave their armpits. None of that matters, because what you're doing is you're actually getting to know the person, their positions, their opinions. And then that is what draws the attraction to them. Oh, Lord, I don't even want to think about that, ramen. I don't even want to think about that mess. Okay, Donald. But I appreciate the people that come in and listen to my streams because of what they say, not because of what they look like. It's like I appreciate the people on Monkey streams and on Jack streams because of what they say. Elsa Kirk, I appreciate the people on her stuff for the same reason. Now, Elsa Kirk is funny as hell. If y'all don't know who Elsa Kirk is, she is a Christian comedian author. And her, I think she has a YouTube channel. Okay. But she does an excellent Kamala Harris.
Listen, open your eyes, okay? And look at the day. Okay, you gotta look at the day. You do. And listen, you'll see things in a different way. Okay. Listen, full stop. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Okay. Don't stop because it'll soon be here. Okay. It'll soon be here. Yeah. It'll be here better than before. Okay. Yesterday's gone. Yesterday's gone. Okay.
That's okay. Here she is on you. Let's get to her actual YouTube channel. Come on, internet. I pay for faster internet than this. Let's see. Pop over to her shorts. Good. That's there we go.
Join us for this one-on-one interview with Vice President Kamala Harris. Vice President Harris, people who are convicted in prison, like the marathon bomber on death row, people who are convicted of sexual assault, they should be able to vote? Well, listen, I think we should have that conversation. Okay, right.
You know,
But
she's
we are
even wearing a tan
right
jacket
now.
like Kamala
Right.
likes to wear.
And it's an important conversation. So let's have the conversation. Thank you. Yes, that was a great conversation, right? Join us for this one-on-one interview.
Oh, Johnny Hellcat. Hey, good morning. Yeah, another big deal. Speaking of the tan suits, another big deal. Evidently, they're going back to the Obama days here when I don't remember this, but somehow or another, there was a controversy over Obama wearing a tan suit. Some stiff-necked Republicans somewhere along the lines didn't like the fact he showed up somewhere, that Obama showed up somewhere wearing a tan suit. While Kamala yesterday or the night before, whenever the deal was that she was going to be, Biden was dropping out and everything, she has been wearing a tan suit primarily ever since. And on Black TikTok, it is, oh my God, look at that. She's wearing that tan suit specifically to make the maggots' heads explode. Da-da-da-da-da. I'm just sitting there watching them going, nobody really cares what color suit she wears. no one really cares about what color suit she has on. But evidently that tan suit of hers is a signal that to within the black community, at least to the black women in the community, Johnny, I don't even remember it. I don't remember this tan suit controversy whatsoever. I guess I'm going to have to look it up because it's out there. And I just don't understand it. It makes, yeah. Now, I mean, is it commonplace for men and in politics to wear a tan suit? Not really. It's not, but that's not to say that they can't for any reason. But if I had a complaint about dress codes, the official or unofficial dress code within politics, especially Congress. Let's okay, the House and Senate. It's the and I mean, it's even within you watch your local news. Okay, men are required, suit, tie, jacket. A dress shirt, a tie, and a jacket. Women pretty much now wear anything that their little hearts desire. Any kind of dress, sleeves, no sleeves, there doesn't seem to be a dress code. I mean, it's even now, because for some reason or not, now they even removed the ban on women wearing hats while in Congress. No, Johnny, that's not exactly true. Jim Jordan got in a lot of trouble when he first got up there because he doesn't like wearing a tie or jacket. So if you'll notice, Jim Jordan doesn't wear his tie most times all the way up to the top. It's there and it's knotted, but it's not. And I think he even keeps that top button unbuttoned a lot of times. But Jim Jordan got a lot of flack for the way he dressed. Matt Gaetz got a lot of flack when he got up there for the way he was dressing. So but the women started complaining that the dress code required them to wear sleeves, that they couldn't wear anything sleeveless. And then one woman complained that she couldn't wear her hat, so it went with her outfits. So Unfortunately, I do, and it's the weirdest things that stick to my mind. Because there's that one black woman from here in Florida in the House. I can't remember her name. She had a really strangely formed district that ran along I-10, or not I-10, but I-75, and connected two communities. And she wore a cowboy hat, and with a lot of crap hanging off of it. That was her trademark. And it wasn't just one. She had probably a couple of dozen of them that she wore. So make them all wear gray uniforms. I mean, I agree that, when you show up to work in the Congress, in the House, and in the Senate, that attire is required. And I don't think it should be that much of a problem for men to be wearing a jacket and tie. Just as I don't think it should be that much of an issue for the women to be wearing similar attire when they show up to work on the Congress. No, that wasn't Maxine Waters. But now, that woman was in, I don't know, probably 10, 15 years ago when she was sitting in the House. So, yeah, there's been a lot of really strange issues that have always popped up. This election cycle is going to be it's going to be interesting. There's people out there claiming, and I can, there's lawsuits going on about the Biden-Harris campaign fund. I've seen FEC experts come down on both sides. Some saying yes, Harris should have full access to it legally, and others saying no, she shouldn't have full access to it because they did not properly go through the FEC to give her access to it. So there's that. Then there's the whole process of how Kamala, a woman who did not get a single primary vote in 2020 and has never received a single primary vote, is suddenly going to be the Democratic candidate for for president. That is another question that's it's going to have to, are people going to make it go through the courts? I don't know. Should it go through the court system? Is it legal? Because, and then we have to also remember the DNC and the RNC are corporate entities. And they're allowed to make their own rules. That's why the rules for selecting their candidates are so different. That's why the DNC gets away with having super candidates, super delegates, whose votes count a hell of a lot more than the standard delegate. That's how Hillary got to be the nominee back in 2016 instead of Bernie. Oh, Chuck Todd said that yesterday? Wow, Donald. Yeah, and then what about the people who've donated money to the Biden? And now they say, well, I don't want my money to go to Harris because I don't like her. As VP, she's just there. She's a placeholder. But I don't want her to be president. My support was for Joe, not Kamala. Frederica Wilson. There you go, Johnny. That's it. And let's see here. Let me pop up the images, and you'll here. When I say she wore some hats, man, she had them. And she actually, wanted to sue over the fact that she wasn't allowed to wear her hats on the floor of the House. But she definitely believed in wearing hats. And let's see here. Will this pop up a picture of her district? Because no, her district was not as bad. Okay, that must have been somebody else that had the really weird district. Because there is one really strange district out there that it ran straight up I-75 or A1A. It ran up A1A. That's what it was. So her hats always matched her outfits, though. Oh, Chucky Schumer. Yeah, well. I wonder, and see, how many people, and see, this is when it comes to her, when people start bringing up her past, how she got in, with, being this side piece to, crap. Somebody throw his name in there because I'm damned if I can remember right now. But being a political boss's side piece to get her starting in politics. Yeah, Willie Brown. Thank you, Tyre. Guys, I depend on you with my memory because I'll know that guy's name. I knew it yesterday. And I'll know it tomorrow. But for some reason today, I didn't know it. So I depend on you guys to help me with my memory on names and such. But anyway, when people start bringing up the fact that she was Willie Brown's side piece, and that's how she got her start in politics, you're going to see the feminists, the Democratic Party. How dare you bring up her past? Her past has nothing to do with this. But these are the same people sitting out there going, well, Trump said grab him by the da 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 da. And let's look at the pure hypocrisy that's going to be coming up. So, anywho, well, I think I have just about covered. I mean, there's a lot more here I'd like to cover this morning, but because I was unable to do a lot of things yesterday I needed to get done, I have got a very full plate today. Oh God, Tyre, that's if by some ungodly demonic miracle she gets elected, that is going to be the most ridiculed presidency since Gerald Ford. And that cackle, I will be absolutely, I'll be in the loony bin by the end of the 4 years if I got to listen to that cackle for 4 more years, especially if I got to listen to it as president. I mean, I've struggled here for the past year and a half trying to listen to Biden speak. But having to listen to Kamala and her cackle and her, oh, I love circles. I love Venn diagrams. I love yellow school buses. Oh. That is going to be one of my definitions of hell. That will truly be one of my definitions of hell. You're not wrong about that either, Josh. So, but let's see. This is Thursday. Tomorrow's the Friday Fun Day stream. Let's see. I need to check something because I know there's going to be one Friday where there's not going to be a stream because I have got a procedure scheduled for. Okay, tomorrow is good. So I am good for tomorrow's stream. Friday Fun Day. Books, movies, food. Vacation plans. Anything and everything. Things to laugh at, things to have fun, but as little politics or no politics if at all possible. So everyone have a good day. Enjoy yourselves. And as always, be with the ones you love and love the ones that you're with. And have a good weekend, or have a good day, rather.